Hey everybody, Kara Castanova from Lindell TV here at the White House. The day before the 4th of July, so many people heading out of Washington, D.C. to go celebrate this amazing holiday, but there's also some really great festivities going on here in Washington, D.C. There'll be fireworks, I believe, and a party here at the White House over the weekend. President Trump having a busy day. Obviously, that big, beautiful bill is about to pass. People are staying in the House and will be on the president's desk for tomorrow. As we speak, the president is in the Oval Office with his wife, Melania, meeting with one of the hostages that was held there in Israel. So that is what is on the president's agenda today, as well as a number of other things. He had an intelligence briefing this morning, a call with Putin that went well, from what I'm understanding, as the readout comes out. And in the meantime, a lot of interesting things going on with election integrity. I'm going to be putting out a X post on that, so please check out Lindell TV for more extensive reporting on the DOJ. President Trump has asked the DOJ to look into elections and to start asking questions and investigating very shady states and local municipalities and everything going on with elections. So that is a very welcoming piece of news, I think, for anybody who cares about our democracy. The Democrats said they care so much about our democracy, and elections obviously are the cornerstone and the most fundamental part of our constitutional republic. I don't call it a democracy because it's a constitutional republic, but obviously President Trump thinks that it's important to investigate the 2020 election and others that so many disenfranchised voters have questions about. We spoke yesterday to a very great guy who really knows a lot about election integrity, and we have that clip. We'll play that for you shortly. He came here with Mike Lindell, who is here today, by the way, meeting with the president. He's actually in the briefing room right behind me, waiting to meet with the president after he has his meeting with the hostages. Can we play that clip, guys, from the colonel that we spoke to yesterday, who accompanied Mike Lindell here to talk about election integrity and how we can go back to paper ballots and how we can make elections safe and secure for the future. Hey everybody, Kara Castronova here at the White House with Colonel Reynolds, who accompanied Mike Lindell here today. He's in the fight for election integrity, which is a good fight, and we can't give up on paper ballots and really straightening out our elections. Tell me why the fight for election integrity is so important to you.
It's important to our country. I've been to 70 different countries, and I will tell you, if we don't get this right, then everything that President Trump is doing can be reversed. So we need to get right now, we need to get rid of machines. We need to go to hand-marked paper ballots, not just paper ballots, hand-marked paper ballots that are hand-counted. Every cybersecurity expert, every professional will tell you that's the gold standard. And anybody who wants machines for any part of our voting process is wrong. And I'm here to make sure that those machines go away. And I agree with Mike on that, 100%.
Right. And it's frustrating because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are really paying attention to elections, which is obviously the cornerstone of our constitutional republic. People say democracy, but it's a republic. Tell me a little bit about your background. I know you're a colonel. You have served with honor for 30 years?
For 30 years. I was an Army intelligence officer. I've worked for about every three-lettered agency here in D.C. Over my career, and I've traveled the world. And this is the fight. This is the fight that we have to win. That's why I'm in it. We've got to get rid of machines. We've got to go to hand-marked paper ballots. It's a simple thing. It's not hard. It saves money, and it's not impossible to do. We just proved that in Arkansas. There was one county in Arkansas that dared to do paper ballots, and they showed that everything, all the propaganda was a lie. They said it was going to bankrupt their county. It wasn't. They saved 20%. They said that you can't do it and get an accurate hand count. Well, guess what? They got an accurate hand count, 100%. And so now, in our state, they're going after those 3 election commissioners that ran a wonderful election last November. They have kicked them out for 14 years. Right. The State Board of Election Commissioners. It's a long story, but this is wrong. They're being bullied and harassed by our state, and our state is a solid red state. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is our governor.
Right, and we're here. I just want to show people that we're here at the White House right now, so we could show that behind us, which is pretty kind of surreal, because I'm sure you were in the fight for election integrity in 2020 when President Trump allegedly didn't win the election in 2020, and now we're back here in 2025 in front of the White House talking about election integrity. We're so excited. Like, this is back on the table, this conversation. We thought it was dead forever. We thought we were going to have, people in office like Joe Biden, who was appointed appointed basically by the deep state and the auto pen president as well. So we're here, and it's such redemption. We're here with Mike Lindell today. We're here with you and talking about election integrity, something the mainstream media, the people in those tents, refuse to talk about.
That's right. Well, I think that God is on our side, and that's why President Trump is here. And I honestly believe that this is our fight. And I want everybody listening to this, you've got to get involved. You've got to get involved to get rid of these machines. That is for our children and grandchildren, the future of our country, 100%. And I'm going to make that happen.
Okay, great. And how can people follow you in your work?
They can go to our website, avii.org, avii.org. It's called America Voter Integrity Initiative. But go there. We've got videos of the top cybersecurity experts, to include professors, who all agree that these machines cannot be trusted.
And remember how it was so demonized to say stop the steal?
Oh, yeah.
We're saying stop the steal right here in front of the White House. Stop the future steal. Stop the steal. Stop the steal. We were demonized for saying that the FBI came to our homes. They raided us. They tried to throw us in jail. They censored us. They tried to literally do everything they could to all but kill us. And they probably could have if they would have if they could have. But we're here in the front of the White House saying stop the future steal. Stop the steal. Look at that election of 2020 because it was shady and nobody believes the results. And that's the end of the story.
That's exactly right. And not only are we looking back, we're looking forward. So we got to fix both. That's what we intend to do, and we need your help. We need you to get involved as well.
At different constituencies of Republicans here.
So that, I think, was a pretty cool interview that we did yesterday with Colonel Reynolds, who's here with Mike Lindell, accompanying him here in Washington, D.C. to obviously continue the fight for election integrity. So important. And like I mentioned in that interview, it's sort of surreal to be able to say stop the steal, which was such a demonized thing to say. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they had the FBI at our house. They had censored us. They had done everything they could to shut us up and to disqualify us and ruin our lives, really, just for saying something like stop the steal, which was basically an expression asking for an investigation into the 2020 election, saying that the American people really just didn't buy the fact that Joe Biden won. A lot of people had questions. A lot of American people had questions. I spoke to them. There were so many people that were disenfranchised and who just didn't feel like that election was conducted properly. I call it the election of the COVID year 2020, with all of those mail-in ballots. God only knows. I mean, it was unprecedented, the amount of mail-in ballots allegedly. So people have questions if those were real ballots or not. And I think that people should have had their questions answered. Obviously, the Department of Justice refused to do an investigation in 2020. And now President Trump is demanding an investigation 5 years later. So really just a redemptive arc for this president and for so many of us that really, really continue to fight for election integrity. And if the Democrats and the rhinos and the deep state and the fake news has nothing to hide, they shouldn't have a problem with this investigation. That's all I have to say on that. Here's another interview we did yesterday, another interesting interview with, this is William Huff, another gentleman who's here accompanying Colonel Reynolds and Mike Lindell. He's at the White House right now in the briefing room. Actually, we got to talk to him yesterday and the work that he's doing. Very important work. Again, so many great people still fighting for election integrity across the nation. Here is William Huff in front of the White House yesterday. Hey, everybody. Kara Castronova here in front of the White House with Will Huff, who is a policy expert for election integrity. He accompanied Mike Lindell here today. Obviously, election integrity still so important to so many American voters who don't believe that the 2020 election was actually not rigged. Is this something that people are going to start talking about again? Is that the goal with your organization, and what is it that you guys are fighting for?
Yeah, we've been working with people from across the country on election integrity, and our number one goal is to support the president's agenda. That's getting to hand-marked paper ballots that have a hand count before certification. And we've talked to all the leading experts around the country. That includes Dr. Andrew Appel from Princeton University, Dr. Philip Stark, a statistician out of UC Berkeley, Dr. Doug Jones out of Iowa. We've talked to them all, and they all say that you need to not have a computer between the voter and the final count. So what I work on is supporting the president's agenda in different ways. We work with different counties, we work with different organizations, and talk to secretaries of states, and even with Representative Pete Sessions here in D.C., who's going to do a bill called the Make Elections Secure Act, which is going to push forward the president's agenda on election security.
As you know, mainstream media is so afraid to touch this subject because everybody became so demonized, whether, the very, very, very few mainstream reporters that had the nerve to question it, and so many alternate reporters like myself, just for asking questions, just for doing our job, just for asking for an investigation or asking for files or proof, we were literally demonized. Do you think that this is a conversation that will continue in this Trump administration? Do you think that more reporters will still ask questions, or do you think that it's unlikely?
I think it's unlikely that the mainstream media grabs onto this until the president starts releasing findings from his investigations that are going on from his executive order. His executive order, I think it's 14248, that was done in March, instructs the DHS, DOJ to investigate the machines. We've already had the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, let us know that the machines have vulnerabilities, have been open to manipulation for many, many years, and she said it supports the president's mandate to go to hand-marked paper ballots. So with this in tote, the mainstream media are going to have to talk about it once the president puts his full focus on the elections, and all the reports are due by mid-September. So I think we need to look for that date for when everything breaks loose in the media.
And what is the situation right now in Arkansas? If you could briefly touch on that. I know that Sarah Huckabee Sanders, surprisingly, is not going for the paper ballots. How could we convince her that that is the only way that an election could actually be fair?
Well, the Sarah Huckabee Sanders administration has been fighting us on the paper ballot issue from the background. We've heard from legislators who said her team has told them, like, stay away from the subject. But she handpicked the new Secretary of State. His name is Cole Jester, and he leads the State Board of Election Commissioners. That State Board of Election Commissioners just banned the 3 county election commissioners from Searcy County. That's our only paper ballot county. Banned them for 14 years, and they've been bullied and targeted since they began the move to hand-marked paper ballots. And at the culmination of the bullying ended up being the 14-year ban that they just received. So we've been working with the governor. She was even asked at CPAC, what do the people of Arkansas want? And in the crowd it said paper ballots. And she said, I know that you want paper ballots. The president tells me every time we talk to him, and I'm working on it. So she knows the issue. She's heard from the experts. We've had all the experts come down to Arkansas and talk, but none of the elected officials care in the state of Arkansas. So we're fighting the GOP establishment versus the grassroots. It's going crazy this last week. They upped filing fees. If you want to run for office in Arkansas, you got to pay $30,000 to run for governor, $40,000 to challenge Senate.
Do you have to collect signatures?
No signatures. They bypassed that by doing a $40,000.
That's ridiculous, and that sounds a lot like New York to me, the most corrupt state in the universe when it comes to the Uniparty and their shenanigans with ballot access. They don't want regular people to access the ballot. Nobody has $30,000-$40,000 laying around. If you're a regular person, like the founding fathers intended, that wants to run for office, they literally make it impossible. These people are vile, evil creatures, and I'm talking about the deep state that doesn't want regular people to run for office, like you just mentioned in Arkansas, where they're now making it so expensive to actually get on the ballot. Unconstitutional. That should be challenged in the Supreme Court. What could people continue to do, in closing, to fight to stop future steals?
What we need to do is talk to all of your elected officials about the fact that you don't want the computer tabulating your votes. Show them the president's executive order that says no more barcodes or QR codes to be in your ballots, and tell them you want hand counts, but it needs to be your local election officials need to feel the pressure. And we have an organization called AVII.org. That's America Voter Integrity Initiative, AVII.org. And we're doing the groundwork. We're putting this in, and we're trying to support the president's agenda the best we can and get this legislation passed and get states to follow the president's agenda.
And to stop the steal.
We have to stop the steal. 2020 was stolen, and none of our legislators in Arkansas would say the words President Trump's election was stolen, even though all of the voters knew it. And we've been fighting for the president since then to get election security so we can trust the outcome of our elections.
Thank you so much for your fight for election security, sir.
Thank you so much.
So that was that interview there yesterday. Right behind me, right here, again, talking about stopping the steal, stopping future steals. This stuff is so important. And if you even uttered that expression a couple years ago, you would lose your social media accounts, get banned on Facebook for life, like I was, or have the FBI banging on your door, demanding to see your cell phone because you were at January 6th asking for election integrity. All of these things happened to journalists, to American citizens. It was literally like a regime, obviously the Biden regime, not really Biden, we're finding out, but the auto pen regime. God only knows who was behind the auto pen, to be investigated, obviously, by the Department of Justice. And hopefully we'll get to the bottom of who was the real president for the past 5 years. Joe Biden, as it turns out, we knew this the whole time, was sadly not mentally capable of making these decisions. So behind the scenes, people are saying now it's transpiring, it's coming out thanks to the investigative reporting of Emerald Robinson, people at Lindell TV, people at the Gateway Pundit, and asking the right questions, that President Biden actually had no idea what was going on and somebody else was making decisions and signing his signature. I think that information will certainly come out by midterms, and hopefully, people will see just how dishonest that administration was, and anybody related to it, like the current Democrats in office that are running in the midterms, do not deserve to be there because they covered up for an auto pen president, and they covered up for possible election fraud because they're fighting this new DOJ measure that President Trump has, this investigation into election officials where there's potential criminal charges, potential jail time. If there's nothing to hide, these people really shouldn't have a problem with an investigation, don't you think? So all of this stuff is happening in Washington, D.C. right now, and it's exciting stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, the president and Melania Trump, his wife, his beautiful wife, are in the White House right now meeting with Mr. Alexander, the hostage that was held in captivity. Is that the right word? Held in captivity when you're hostage. He was there in being held in the Middle East by Hamas for over 500 days. So he's being welcomed to the White House today by the president and the first lady. But we have a great interview. Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell is here at the White House, and we got an opportunity to shoot an interview, again, talking about why he's here, why it's so important to keep pressing for election integrity, and so many other issues that he wants to bring to the president's mind in the forefront of the conversation. So please check out this interview with Mike Lindell we did right here just yesterday. Hey everybody, Kara Castronova here at the White House with Mike Lindell, and he is here visiting. We'll be meeting with some high-ups in the White House. We're looking forward to that. Why are you here?
Well, I got meetings today and tomorrow, and one of them is with our great president, and I'm looking forward to that. But I also want to get out here with Lindell TV and see how you're doing. Kara, you guys are doing such an awesome job here. And you've been in the news so much the last week with putting Lindell TV on the map, and I want to thank you for that. And but yeah, it's been we just had I love it out here. I could just stay out here at the with all the reporters. I love being they attacked every day by the news media. So this is probably only the friendly one I'll do, but I can't wait to when I come out and all the attack ones come attacking, because that's how we get the word out, other than Lindell TV, everybody. And by the way, Lindell TV is publicly traded, MLMC, on the over-the-counter market. So MLMC, Mike Lindell Media Corp. So that's been going just really great because of all your exposure. We got all the questions you're giving the president.
Yes, what is I don't know if you're allowed to disclose what your meetings are about or what's on your agenda. Is it still the election machines, and what are you here to talk about?
Well, one of the things is, and I have different meetings with different people, but I can tell you one of them, obviously everyone knows that we have to secure our elections before the midterms here and before the primaries. If everyone's seen what just happened in New York, right at the mayor's race, that's like stealing on steroids. That's ranked choice voting. I mean, it's I fought this up in Alaska with Sarah Palin. No, don't get me wrong. We got to get rid of all machines, but that takes it to another level beyond it's machines, and now you got another level of stealing ranked choice voting. So. We that's a good example to the country there. What just happened in New York with that mayor, and it happened in Wisconsin. You've seen, and the Supreme Court judge. This is a few months ago. A Supreme Court judge, this Democrat won, and but yet stuff she fought against, which was voter ID. You don't have, you either get one or the other. These are deviations that I've been looking at for 4.5 years, and I think all the public knows we've got to get to paper ballots hand counted, just like 132 other countries. I'm never going to stop talking about it. We just had My Pillow just had the huge win. I was just talking to Tom Holman. He was so happy to see that My Pillow had won that fight. You know, the lawfare in this country, we had over 100 people sued by these machine companies and platforms, and all of them settled so far because their insurance companies say, "Oh, you need to settle. We're not going to pay out any more money," or the person, maybe he doesn't have insurance like that, but he doesn't want to go bankrupt. They're in fear that they're not going to win. It's a David and Goliath thing. These machine companies, and by the way, that's our government. Remember, we pay for those machines. It's an extension of the government. I'm sorry, we need to melt them down and turn them into prison bars. I've been saying this for 4 years. And but My Pillow just had the huge win in Colorado, and he was complimenting me on that. And because it's a first victory. That's breaking on through, opening doors no man can shut, and shutting doors no man can open. And now we have that breakthrough, and there's weakness. There's weakness now out there for this lawfare. And I really believe with the stuff that's coming, the president did an executive order for the elections about 2 months ago now, 3 months ago. And there's great things that are getting added on to that, and that I'll be talking to different people about our election platforms, because that's where my passion is. Everything comes from our elections. Everything. You could talk about borders and everything like we just were. You can talk about anything, but it all comes from our elections. And I think everybody's okay if you trust our elections and have secure elections. But that's why 132 countries have banned these electronic voting machines. So that's going to be one of my big topics, as usual.
Did you hear about Marjorie Taylor Greene? She just wrote a new bill, and President Trump really likes it, about redoing the census and counting people up so that there is more fair elections, and also to count if people are legal or not.
Absolutely. And this goes down to everybody, the data that I have all the data files from all 50 states and all the counties in the country, all 3,143, whatever there is. And in those, when you do those census reports, remember, I'll give you an example of Wisconsin. They have 7,200,000 names on their voter rolls, and if everybody voted that was eligible in Wisconsin, it's 4,100,000. What do we need the other 3 million names there for? So what Marjorie wants to do, what she wants to do, is just awesome. You do a new census, because they included the illegals on the 2020 census. Horribly wrong. I mean, that's what this is all a big, everything out there to cheat, to take a country without firing a shot. That's basically what this has all been over the last 5 years. But to having different things going on, it's all going proactively good. And you're hearing about here on Lindell TV, this is what we didn't have before, everybody. When you go back 4.5 years ago, when 1.2 million Americans were deplatformed, this is when I started Lindell TV back then, we had no place to talk other than these guys that are here, this fake media that attacks every day. And they're on to me, so they're not even going to talk to me. They're going to, he's going to talk about election, melting down the machines again, That's won't you guys?
Did you see how when I asked the question of President Trump about the 2020 election, MSNBC actually cut away They cut away, and to reassure the audience that there was no proof and that the election was safe.
Yeah.
They actually cut off the president mid-sentence when he was answering me to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the cool part about it. The media, they were trapped because this was such an important thing, talking about the 6-3 vote with the Supreme Court, that, and then you ask the question and flip it, which the president loved, because he's able to say to the whole world, hey, we still got a problem with the 2020 election, and we're going to get to the bottom of it so it never happens again. It was so perfect. It's just a divine question. And by the way, everybody, it wasn't a setup. You heard him say it when he heard, well, where are you from? Lindell TV. And he's going, now this was not a setup question, but I love you. That was awesome. But I better get in there. But before I do, you guys, I want to tell you, we've gotten this far with Lindell TV with our sponsors. Obviously, My Pillow is probably still our biggest sponsor, and that's my employee-owned company. and we want to do something for all of you watching. We're doing 2 sales, and we're using the promo code DC, and it's 800-735-6469. You guys can call that number, but you're going to get all our bed sheets that we have. We just got in these percale sheets, $29.88, any size, any color. This is a wholesale price. We're doing this special for this week only for promo code DC, $29.88, any size, any color. And we're doing another sale that we're going to start a day early. That's our 4th of July sale we do once a year, 50% off or more on all our products, which we have kitchen towels, bath towels, blankets, made in the USA beds, mattress toppers. Go to mypillow.com, use the promo code DC, and get up 50% or more off all these items. And you guys are going to absolutely love it. People say, Mike, I was just outside the gates here, and they go, Mike, I got all your products. I'm going, I bet you don't. Did you know we have over 300 products? You do? Yes, we do. We've got over 300 products. So you got, and they're the best made products in history, and you're supporting. It's a win-win-win. You're supporting my employee-owned company, My Pillow, which then you're supporting Lindell TV, and you're supporting yourself, getting the best products and the best sleep ever. So thank you all. God bless you.
Hey, everybody. So there you go. That was Mike Lindell yesterday here at the White House, and he's getting ready to go into his meeting with President Trump to talk about really important things, obviously, that we need to do in this country. And he will be giving more details about that probably later on during the Mike Lindell show at 4 o'clock. So make sure you tune in. So perhaps Mr. Lindell can give us an update on his meeting with the president and how that went. President Trump will be leaving today to go to a rally. I believe it's in Idaho. Is it in Idaho? Idaho?
Yeah.
It's in one of the I states. Iowa, correct. It's in Iowa to celebrate, obviously, the birthday of the country, the 4th of July. So he will be appearing, and we will be streaming that live on LindellTV.com. So make sure you tune in and check that out. We love to see President Trump at his rallies where he's in his best form, and he's just so natural and, speaks so freely, doesn't use a teleprompter like the auto pen president. Biden, the alleged president of 2020. Hopefully, the Department of Justice will make some moves in the near future and really start investigating, sending out subpoenas, sending out, deposing people, deposing these election officials, these nefarious, vile creatures. I know all about these vile people because I ran for office in New York, and there is nothing more corrupt than the Board of Elections. Let me tell you that. The bureaucracy at the Board of Elections, the Democrats and the Republicans in lockstep just absolutely need to have accountability by the American people. We're sick and tired of the non-transparency. And hopefully the Department of Justice starts investigating and making an example out of these individuals who continue to literally not answer Freedom of Information Acts, who don't answer the phone, who literally continue to avoid journalists, to avoid questions. They think they just literally can go about unaccounted for many more years to come. So hopefully they will be held accountable by this new investigation. And from what I'm understanding, we have Allison over there at the Congress right now, probably with some news about the big, beautiful bill. I know that Allison, everybody here at the White House is asking questions in the briefing room. Do you know anything about the bill? Has it passed yet? What's going on with that?
Yes, Kara, great to see you. There actually aren't many updates to give you at this point in time regarding the big beautiful bill, because Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, has been rambling on nonstop for the last almost 9 hours now. He started speaking at around 4:53 a.m. They call this the magic minute that they designate him before the final vote is cast on this bill. And, it should be just that, a minute or so. Well, Hakeem Jeffries has been speaking for the past 9 hours, and he's doing this obviously to filibuster and delay the inevitable yes vote for the one big beautiful bill that we know is currently back in the House waiting for the vote. Now, the bill did actually undergo quite a bit of change when it came out of the Senate earlier in this week. Unfortunately, there were some concessions that were made there that
I don't know. She didn't say goodbye.
Oh, it looks like we have an actually breaking news update that Johnson is now speaking. So I guess Hakeem Jeffries finally stopped. Hakeem Jeffries finally stopped his 9-hour filibuster. So I guess Johnson is speaking now, which means that we are probably very, very close to reaching that vote. As far as I know, there were 10 holdouts as of last night because of the changes that were made in the Senate, and now it looks like those 10 who are holding out, who are going to be a no vote, the Republicans, are now switching over to a yes vote. I know last night those 10 Freedom Caucus members primarily met with President Trump last night and this morning to talk about this and come to some sort of an agreement. So it's sounding like they are getting very close to reaching that vote. I think there's just now a back and forth going on between Speaker Johnson and Hakeem Jeffries. So with that being said, those are all the updates I have. We actually have the live footage of this, the live coverage of this. So I would love the viewers to see the latest of what's going on in the House. Let's take a look at that now. Thanks so much, Kara, and stay tuned for
Thanks,
live
Allison.
coverage on what's happening on the House floor right now.
They can't change the truth. And today was about performance for some of them. But today for us is about results. Results that improve the lives of Americans, regardless of their race, religion, color, or creed. It does not matter. I tell you what, Ronald Reagan used to remind us you can always trust the American people, and we do trust the American people, and they can discern the difference. What they saw on display here today is that Democrats deliver performances and Republicans deliver results. Today, my friends, we are ready now. We are going to deliver what we were sent here to do, and every American will benefit from it. In 1793, just steps from where we stand today, President George Washington laid the first cornerstone of the United States Capitol. Over 50 years later, on July 4th again, members of this body gathered once again to lay a second cornerstone. Once more on July 4th, at the height of the Cold War, Congress laid a third cornerstone. And this week, with this vote today, on our nation's birthday being tomorrow, we lay a fourth. With this bill, we can vote as stewards of that great legacy that we have inherited in this extraordinary nation that we are blessed to live in. We can lay another sturdy foundation for the future of this country, a future where working Americans can feel relief, where government can finally start living within its means again, and where the United States is safer, stronger, and more prosperous than ever before. That's right. Now, I'm going to say this as they mock America and mock everything and mock the bill. We'll see how the people feel about that. Yeah. So listen, seriously, as friends and colleagues, really, across the aisle, what we celebrate tomorrow is the nation's birthday. Let's put the politics aside for a minute, and let's reflect on our blessings. No kidding, really. Tomorrow is the 249th birthday of our nation, and that's right.
USA, 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 USA.
I mean this sincerely. I thank my colleagues for standing. We all should be united in that. We are. We have squabbles, we have partisan debates and all of this, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans, man. And we gotta believe that. We gotta know it. We gotta recognize that we live in the greatest nation in the history of the world. It's not even close. My friends and colleagues, we are so blessed. We should not take it for granted. We live in the most free, the most successful, the most powerful, the most benevolent nation that has ever been on the face of the earth. And there's a reason for that. The reason that we are the greatest nation is because we were built on the ultimate foundation. And the bold declaration that my friend Hakeem Jeffries articulated earlier is true. We unite under that. The bold declaration that we do hold these truths to be self-evident. What is a self-evident truth? It's something that's obvious. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. It does not say born equal. It says created equal. and that it is our Creator, yes, it is our Creator that gives us our rights. See, the powerful thing about that is we're the first nation in the history of the world that acknowledged that our rights do not derive from government. They come from God Himself. You see those words up there, that motto, it says, "In God we trust," right above the speaker's rostrum. You know, a previous Congress put that there in the early 60s in the height of the Cold War. There's a little visitor's guide that people get when you do tours late at night. You've probably seen your constituents and visitors and friends get the guide. If you turn, I think it's about to page 21. It explains why that's there. And it says, Congress voted to put that there as a rebuke to the Soviets' worldview at the height of the Cold War. Why? Because communism, socialism, find their root in Marxism. And Marxism begins with the belief that there is no God. It's wrong. And this Congress made us stand those many years ago, and we should do it again. We're different, we're distinct, we're exceptional, because we acknowledge that right there, our motto. It doesn't say in government we trust. It says in God we trust. And we better remember that. He has blessed us with His grand experiment in self-governance now for almost 2.5 centuries. And by God's grace, we are working hard and we are delivering on our promise to make America great again. This is without a doubt the most important vote of this Congress, and I think this may be the most important vote that any of us take in our entire lifetimes. And everybody better remember it, however you vote today. My friends, the President of the United States is waiting with his pen. The American people are waiting for this relief. We've heard enough talk. It's time for action. Let's finish the job for him. Vote yes on the bill. With that, I yield back.
The gentleman yields, and all time for debate has expired. Pursuant to House Resolution 566, the previous question is ordered. The question is on the motion by the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Arrington. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. For what purpose does the gentleman from Massachusetts seek recognition?
Ask for a recorded vote.
Vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 15-minute vote.
If you want to feel and look your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements that are designed to help you with everyday health goals. Whether it's boosting your energy or trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping your testosterone up, or even reducing swelling in your legs, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients, backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. Just go to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose. So head over to purehealthresearch.com now, explore their 45 amazing supplements, and save 35% before this deal ends with promo code Lindell. If you want to feel and look your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements that are designed to help you with everyday health goals. Whether it's boosting your energy or trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping your testosterone up, or even reducing swelling in your legs, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients, backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. Just go to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose. So head over to purehealthresearch.com now, explore their 45 amazing supplements, and save 35% before this deal ends with promo code Lindell.
Rotunda here, and I just looked right down, and there was the incredible Ralph Norman. How are you doing today, sir?
Allison, doing great. I'm doing great now that I'm on your TV show.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, it's such a pleasure to run into you here, and I'm so excited to talk to you because there's been so much going on in the last, 48 hours. It's been a crazy day. I know you've had very little sleep, so thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. You just voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill.
Getting ready to go vote.
Getting ready to go vote. Okay, so we are waiting for the vote to happen currently. We just heard from Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, who was speaking for 9 hours, trying to delay what I think is the inevitable here, right?
It really was, Allison. I mean, it's 9 hours. I know you're breaking record, Kevin Farley, but 9 hours. But anyway, it is what it is. And I didn't listen to it.
Do you have to sit in there all the time? Okay, thank goodness. I was going to be like, oh my goodness.
Anybody that had to sit in there would be asleep.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so I believe and now we're going to
Okay, so now we're going to the vote. So how do you see this panning out? We know Thomas Mask is probably going to be a hard no. He's going to stand firm on the no. I know you have been very concerned about the fiscal aspect of the Big Beautiful Bill. Talk to us more about some of your concerns with it, where you stand.
couple of things. One, we met with Donald Trump yesterday. The president really, it took 2 hours to tell us what was taking place, why we needed to pass this. He was very, I guess, disappointed that the senators had we put it back to him would have made it worse. And we were convinced that now's the time to move on. We did make some movement with what he was going to do and how he was going to interpret different things and try to help curb some of the spending. I think he now realizes the nuclear weapon in America, it's identity. And I think that for young people like you and others, we got to get done.
Yeah.
That plus the subsidies, plus making sure if you're illegal, you're not getting a paycheck. If you're an American and chooses not to vote, you're not getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
So we felt comfortable with it. I will be voting for the bill. I voted against it in rules committee. I'll be voting for it.
Amazing. Okay, it's been so interesting to see how this is sort of ebbed and flowed. This whole process is fascinating. I know that when the bill came out of the Senate now, there was they actually caved on the Medicaid for illegal. So that's still included in the bill at this point, right?
They did. They caved on surgeries for transgenders.
Oh my God.
They caved on, having abortions, late term abortions. And used taxpayers' money.
Yes.
They caved on subsidies. Why should any manufacturer get $7,500 a car for an electric car? That's for you and I to decide what we want to drive. But we're going to do what we can. The bill was a good bill overall, but tax cuts that we're giving back to the American people. We're finally saying, without any Democrat help, that it's your money. Government didn't earn it. You did. You can spend it like you want.
Yeah.
So it'll be a big step, probably a big accomplishment for not only the American people. President Trump really pushed this. He put this up the line.
Yeah, he sure did. He's been very adamant about passing it since day one. I know he's worked very hard to get everyone on board because you, along with I think 9 others, were a little uncertain as of yesterday, right?
We were, and I mean, we're business people. We want the best we can for the American people. We got concessions we feel comfortable. So,
Yeah, I think overall it is very exciting, especially the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. That's huge.
Tax on Social Security.
New tax on Social Security, biggest tax cuts in history. If he reverted back to what it was before the 2017 tax cuts, that would be devastating for the African American.
For you and others, it'd be a 28% increase.
Yeah.
And it's not the government's money, it's our money. We earned it. And what the Democrats do is not support us in anything. They hate Trump. If he cured cancer,
It's so true. They find fault with literally everything he does.
And the man is this. He's doing more for the country than anybody in history.
I think so too. And he's done an incredible amount of accomplished so much in just such a short amount of time. And he worked to undo everything that Biden did in this amount of time. It's pretty amazing.
Not only that, but the illegal crossings are not happening now.
I know.
He's giving money back to us. He's assuming that their economy is going to grow. We're excited.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Why do you think the Democrats are so largely opposed to this? I mean, there are great aspects of the bill. There are some, some not so great things for tax, but the Democrats, I mean, they're so unified in this. Not one yes vote, I think we're going to get from them. Is that how you see this going down?
No one will get any yes vote on anything.
Yeah.
When it comes to common sense things like letting you spend your own money, like cutting regulations, like our foreign affairs that President Trump is taking lead in with the right thing. The State of the Union proved everything. When they took a stand for a young man with cancer, when they basically had held up signs, they're socialists. The New York mayor is who they are. And so the only thing we have to do is beat them to hot box, keep the midterms, which I think we're real.
Yeah. And we need to pray because we can't let the commies take over America.
It's time for all Americans to pray, and all Americans just tomorrow particularly celebrate the greatest nation facing them.
Amen. Amen to that. God bless you, Congressman, and God bless America. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for stopping by. What a pleasure.
Always enjoy.
Appreciate you.
Hey, y'all.
All right, guys.
Nice to meet you, Ralph.
First, that is Congressman Ralph Norman, who was so sweet to come and join us. I literally just happened to look down and he was right there and he came up to say hello. So what a pleasant surprise that was. I know he has to get back to his vote, so that is upcoming. So stay tuned for that. We have so much more for you. I think now we're going to give you the best of Hakeem Jeffries. I'm sure y'all want to see that. But like we mentioned in this interview, he was rambling on for 9 hours. He set a new record, longest House speech in history. So he really gave it all he had to try to stop this vote from happening. It's stupid because how long can you really go, right? I mean, it's just a waste of time and a delay to the inevitable. So with that being said, please enjoy Hakeem Jeffries.
So, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to take a little time to share some of the stories of the American people. Voices that might otherwise be excluded from this debate. But we're not going to let those voices be excluded. We will ensure that these voices are heard. We will continue to do everything we can to bring those voices to life here on the House floor and beyond, to stand up for the best interests of everyday Americans. And we've heard from many of them. Throughout this process, I'll share just a handful. With Medicaid expansion, I now qualify for Medicaid. Without insurance, my monthly bill for my 3 injectable drugs would be $3,000. $36,000 a year. And that doesn't include any of my other meds or my medical appointments. Who has that kind of money? That's Charles, who lives in Alaska, district represented by Congressman Nick Begich. Medicare and Social Security keep me alive. I'm surviving on about $13,000 a year, most of it from my Social Security checks. That's just enough to afford my rent, utilities, and food. Without Social Security, I would be homeless. And if Medicare did not pay for my medications, if I had to pay full price, I wouldn't be able to survive. There are so many other seniors who are in the same boat. Without these programs, seniors like me would die on the street. That's Paula, who lives in Arkansas's 2nd Congressional District, represented by my colleague, Congressman French Hill. My son is a 25-year-old young adult with profound nonverbal autism who needs 24/7 support. Our family has relied on Medicaid from the time he was 2 years old, when he began early intervention services. At 3, when he was diagnosed with autism, a private health insurance denied him coverage for his pre-existing condition. Medicaid stepped in to provide health care. From that point until today, home and community-based services through Medicaid have been vital to our son's health and well-being. Medicaid also helped his school district pay for medically necessary therapies at school. Our son is thriving and healthy, and our family can support him at home because of Medicaid. That's Robin. She lives in Arizona's 1st Congressional District, represented by David Swiker. These are stories from everyday Americans who've written to us to say to this Congress, stand up for our health care, Mr. Speaker. Don't stand up for billionaires. Stand up for everyday Americans, for our health, for our safety, and for our well-being. Gwendolyn from Arizona, she also writes, she says Medicaid is the difference between my son being healthy, happy, cared for, and social, versus being at home with aging parents who struggle to physically provide the care that is required daily. Medicaid funding means my son receives the incontinent supplies he needs, the internal feeding supplies he needs to live, and medications that his primary insurance won't cover. Medicaid matters because without it, my son and millions of others like him may not survive. Let me speak directly to Gwendolyn from Arizona. Her representative may not be fighting on your behalf. As House Democrats, we're here to say to you, we agree. Medicaid matters and it must be preserved. It must be preserved. Because Medicaid matters to millions of people all across this great country, to children, to seniors, to people with disabilities, to women, to families, to people in every corner of the United States of America. Yes, Gwendolyn, Medicaid matters.
Okay. And there you have it. That was Hakeem Jeffries giving a record-breaking 9-hour-long House floor speech. Again, that was done to try to delay this inevitable yes vote on the One Big Beautiful Bill, which is set to take place any moment now. I just ran into the great Congressman Ralph Norman, and he said they're going back to vote in any minute now. So this should be taking place, and we should have an answer on whether or not this bill is passed and sent back to the president's desk. It's looking more and more like that July 4th deadline will be met, much to all of our surprise. So that is just incredible stuff. Hakeem Jeffries, a nice try, buddy, but I don't think your tactics work this time. He was up since 4:53 a.m. At the shenanigans, so pretty hilarious to see. He started glitching out towards the end there, and even got so wrapped up in what he was saying, I don't even think he understood. He started making a great case for the One Big Beautiful Bill, saying that it's going to increase border security and ramp up deportations. Hey, Jeffries, that's exactly what we want, so thank you for telling us the truth for once in your life. Alrighty, with that being said, that does it for this hour of DC Live. I'm Allison Steinberg. You're watching Lindell TV. Up next, we have The Absolute Truth with Emerald Robinson, except it's not going to be Emerald Robinson. It's going to be the great Brandon Weichert. It's going to be a great show. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Stay tuned. We'll see you on the flip side.
Swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer. With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots